This is a new shocking revelation. The plague outbreak of Europe, killer disease, did not decimate Europe, scientists claim. The plague did not wipe out untold millions about 1,500 years ago when the plague of Justinian swept through Europe. This is what scientists are speculating. Sebastian Ketley, Express UK reports. Historians estimate that the plague killed somewhere between a whopping 25 and 50 million people, making it the deadliest pandemic of its time. It spread through the Mediterranean, believed by some to have contributed to the demise of Eastern Roman Empire. But an international team of researchers questioned this dire estimate, suggesting there is no evidence to back the numbers. The secret, as one of the researchers said, lies in the natural landscape of 6th century Europe. According to historian Dr. Adam Izbedecki from the Jagiellonian University in Krakow, Poland, the plague of Justinian, who was, of course, the emperor of Byzantium, Constantinople at that time. He was the emperor who was in charge of building the Church of the Holy Wisdom in Istanbul, Constantinople. It was built under his reign, and that was when the plague took place. The plague of Justinian swept through the Byzantine Empire. The plague is said to have wiped out half of the population of Europe. It struck along the coasts of the Mediterranean. The outbreak on such a devastation would have taken a significant toll on, of course, the economic and cultural practices of that time. For instance, Dr. Izdebski says that the frequency of harvests would have changed in response to the dwindling population. Tree logging and forestry would have been impacted, forced to adapt to millions of people dying. And by analyzing century-old samples of dust from lakes and wetlands, the researchers were able to determine whether the plague did indeed strike Europe. Dr. Izdebski told the Polish press, quote, "The landscape reveals a lot of information about demographics or the history of wars because these are reflected in the landscape like a mirror." So the historian studied dust samples, some many decades old. They were collected in Greece, Bulgaria, and Turkey. In other words, in the area of the Byzantine Empire of that time. He said no one has ever analyzed them from a historic landscape perspective. So he says, my observations show at the time of the alleged pandemic from the 6th to 7th centuries do not show a significant change in the landscape, which is tantamount to no major demographic changes. So as a result, the historian does not think the plague of Justinian killed as many people as some estimate. The study lasted 6 years and was presented in the journal Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences. The research was led by scientists at the University of Maryland in the U.S. Dr. Izdebski, he says the exaggerated estimates are likely the product of inaccurate chronicles penned at the time of the plague. One account, he says, described half of the population of Constantinople, today Istanbul, dying from the disease. Izdebski said, we have to, however, remember that these are literal descriptions that exaggerated their depictions of reality. Lead author Lee Mordecai also said it's easy to assume infectious diseases in the past would have catastrophic results, yet we used every type of data set we could get our hands on and found no evidence in any of these data sets to suggest such a destructive outcome. If you'd like to join me on my Patreon account, you will hear content not covered by mainstream media. These riveting stories will be based on my research, and I will state my opinions and give my personal insight on diverse and controversial subjects and world events not covered by mainstream media, and not supported by YouTube guidelines. So whatever I have on my Patreon, most of those will not be on my YouTube channel. Please consider becoming a member today. More of the most significant and important videos will be on my Patreon channel. Your support helps me to continue my research and keeps this YouTube channel alive. And we depend on your support, your generous charity, because we help economically challenged families here in Athens, Greece, in Kapota, and we also help the young generation with university tuition and the community around our church. Thank you.